India today has been relentlessly getting you all the images of havoc and devastation from day one of the Russian invasion. What more? We're there on ground zero with a battery of reporters who are filing these stories, second by second updates, first on India today. Images on your screen showing the most haunting images from the first day of the war till day 10. Those are day 1 to day 10 images on your screens. Now let's give you next set of visuals. There you go. The next set of visuals on your screens capturing the mass destruction. Intense shelling, airstrikes from day 11 to day 18 of the Russian invasion. Let's get you the next set of visuals on your screens from a residential block inside Kyiv, which was bombed. Huge plumes of smoke were seen coming out of this building. Once a bustling city of over 30 lakh people now has come to an absolute standstill. Russia continues to rain missiles on key Ukrainian cities, including Kyiv. Air raid alerts have been issued in several major cities, and sirens have been activated in Kyiv, Lviv, Dnipro, Odessa, Vinnytsia, and Cherkasy. According to reports, loud explosions were also heard in Kyiv suburbs. A weapons factory in the capital city was heavily damaged in a Russian attack on Tuesday. Outside the factory, shopkeepers and helpers were even seen sweeping up glass and other debris in a bid to capture Ukraine's crown. Putin is also raining missiles on the residential buildings of Kyiv. At least 3 people were killed and dozens got injured. Meanwhile, civilians are no longer bearing the brunt of Putin's missiles. The Ukrainian Ministry of Defense claimed Fox News journalists were killed in Russian firing. The camera person and producer were killed while the anchor lost his leg. Fox News, in a statement, has confirmed this grim news. Amidst the fear of the capital city, a curfew has been imposed in Kyiv for the next 36 hours.
A bench on Krushchetik Street, the street which used to be full of people in the heydays. Just before the war started, this street is full of people all the time. There are a lot of very nice bars, restaurants in the street, very big showrooms of all expensive things coming from Europe and all parts of the world. And right now, this street is totally deserted. You hardly see anyone in this street. There is going to be a complete curfew tomorrow onwards in Kyiv city from 8 p.m. today, that is 1 hour from now, till day after morning 8 o'clock. 60 hours complete curfew. Nobody is allowed to move out in these 60 hours, not even the press. And the reason for that, one could be because the shelling of the city has increased by the Russian forces. Maybe to avoid people getting hurt by this shelling could be one reason. But the more important reason, I think, is that there are a lot of special forces people from Russian army who are in the city, who entered the city before the war started. And there are also suspected Russian agents here, which can do sabotage activities, can create disruption anywhere, because the Ukrainian army will be busy now on the outskirts of the city fighting the Russian army, and that is the time these special forces people and these agents are likely to create sabotage activities and likely to get active. Besides this, in Kyiv city, the situation as of now is quite calm. For last 6 hours, no bombing, no air raids, no missiles whatsoever, unlike in the morning today when there were 2 big explosions and then shelling heard almost continuously for 1 to 2 hours. Now it is relatively calm, but that does not mean that everything is okay. Just 11 kilometers away from city on the outskirts, Russian army and Ukrainian army are fighting with each other. It's a fierce fighting going on. We cannot hear that in the city center right now, but it is going on as I'm talking to you. And it's a fierce fight for Kyiv now, because Russian army is slowly inching towards Kyiv, and they are almost on the at the entrance of the city now. So that is the reason probably this curfew has been declared, and that is the situation now in Kyiv city. This is Rajesh Pawar reporting from Kyiv city for India Today.
Marina, what do you think is the situation of birds and animals in this war?
I think the situation in Ukraine it's not good because
Look in the camera, please.
more people left. There are pets on house and another place, and sometimes there are go out. There are pets to the play yard. I don't know. In English.
Yeah.
I think it's not normal because pets don't have eat. Pets
They don't have food. You mean to don't have food?
Israel don't have food,
Food.
and I have now cats, one cat in my house, and I don't know what this cat, but I think this is cat who lived in a house.
As a soldier reporter, he joins us from the day one of the war till date. He's been getting us second-to-second updates, risking his own life. Rajesh, the grim news is about the Fox News crew, the producer and cameraman getting killed, the cameraman, I beg your pardon, getting killed, the anchor losing his leg. Fox News has confirmed this. So the casualties are not just restricted to civilians and soldiers. It is going far way beyond that as well. At this point of time, what is the stance of the Ukrainian government in the midst of all these attacks? And these are spiraling out of control now.
Look, as far as the journalists are concerned, war reporting and soldiering are not very different, actually. War reporters also risk their life just like soldiers do. In fact, more than the soldiers, because soldiers are protected, they have the information, and they have the weapon to defend themselves. They know from where the fire is going to come. And on the other hand, the war reporters generally are not aware of all the situation on the ground, actually. The tactical sighting of the weapons, the fire coming from the enemy's locations. They don't have this kind of information which a soldier has. So I feel the frontline reporters, especially the war reporters who go right where the fighting is taking place, they are more vulnerable even than the soldiers in a way. We heard of another journalist who was shot in Irpin 2 days back. He had gone even ahead of where the Russian forces were operating. So they put themselves in this kind of risk, and they are not much different from soldiers in the war. They are soldiers in their own way. Having said that, now about the Ukraine situation in Kyiv right now, today there was one blast in the morning. I'm still trying to verify where it was. And I'm in the center of Kyiv. To me, it appears it was somewhere about 8 to 9 kilometers. So it is likely to be outside the Kyiv city. But confirmation is yet to come where this blast has taken place and what kind of damage it has caused. Over to you.
No, absolutely. Rajesh, as far as Putin is concerned, what are we hearing from Moscow in terms of their stance at this point of time? Are they likely to up the offensive? Are they going to give in? What is their stance at the moment?
Look, it has been like a seesaw as far as the attitude of the Russian and the Ukrainian leaders is concerned. Like sometimes they give really have a very hard stance, and sometimes they look like softening up. So it's like a seesaw, and I think it depends on a lot of other factors which are going on. One of them is a military advance of the Russian army. And as far as military stance of Russia is concerned, I think it will keep hardening till the time Ukraine doesn't come to the negotiating table with some solid proposals where they accept some kind of Russian control over Donbass and Crimea, and at the same time giving guarantees that Ukraine will remain neutral. Mind you, Russia is so, I should say in a way, paranoid about its security. They had even threatened Sweden and Finland that if they decide to join NATO, Russia could launch a similar operation against them. So the military situation is going to get worse. This is what my reading is. But as far as flattening of city like Kyiv is concerned, I think there'll be a lot of restraint from both sides. And this will be the final trump card with Russia before they go for a full-fledged ground assault on Kyiv, which will leave a lot of civilians dead, will cause a lot of casualties to Russian forces, and will also damage the infrastructure in this beautiful city. Over to you.
Rajesh, so from what I'm picking up from you, you just mentioned all the sides. There seem to be two clear options in terms of a larger plausible solution in sight. One is that there is an agreement that is reached between the two nations and there is a total ceasefire. Or the second option then is Russia launching a new offensive on Ukraine.
Look, there was a report from Pentagon 4 days back, officially released by Pentagon, that 95% of Russian army is still intact. So the actual damage which has been suffered by Russian army is just 5%. So they have yet not unleashed their full military might on Ukraine. And it is no secret. Everybody knows it. I mean, people might keep giving various statements for various psychological reasons, for moral reasons. But the fact of the matter is that Russian army Russia is still a superpower, and they have not yet unleashed their full military might onto Ukraine. When that happens, the humanitarian consequences will be really grim. And Ukraine, and seeing the situation right now, the way they are isolated, NATO has flatly refused to enforce a no-fly zone over Ukraine. They have not been able to give them aircraft, which they desperately needed. It looks like that Ukraine may not be able to sustain the military conflict for too long. Just the morale and the psychological factor and the spirit of the people here who are willing to fight till the end will not sustain this war for too long. They need equipment, they need aircraft, they need good anti-aircraft systems to be placed in Ukraine. Without that, I think sooner or later Ukraine will be forced to go to negotiating table and will have to probably make a lot of concessions which Russia is asking for. Over to you.
So let's also get a sense, Rajesh, from Alex. So I request you to stay on with us. Alex, what's your sense? As Rajesh was mentioning, Ukraine might just be forced to go into the negotiation table with Russia. What is Russia's stance at this point of time? Are they likely to step up the offensive, or are they even in a mood to have the negotiation across the table with Zelensky?
Well, I completely agree with what Rajesh said. Russia will step up the offensive. You know, I was hopeful a few days ago for a peace agreement, for negotiations, but I don't think that's going to happen. Russia will continue to bombard Ukraine and Kyiv, and they are going to step up the offensive. And yes, Russia is in this war to win it. Putin wants Ukraine. And again, if there is any negotiations, Putin's going to play hardball. So he wants to bombard Ukraine, Kyiv, and he wants Ukraine on, part of Russia. So I do not see any negotiations happening anytime soon unless the Ukrainian Zelensky are willing to give a lot up to Putin.
There are some comments that are coming in, Alex, of jailed opposition leaders going on to say in Russia, going on to say that Ukraine war will lead to the collapse of Russia, and many other things are being said by some jailed opposition leaders. What is the kind of reaction that is coming in from these opposition leaders out there?
Yeah, the opposition leaders like Navalny, that they are saying, critical comments about the Kremlin, about Putin, as they usually do. But, here in Moscow, the feeling, you would not even know it. You would not even hear it. A lot of this is in the Western media. So the ordinary Russians do not see this. They do not talk about it. So it's really just out of the world. But, you see it in Western media, but you do not see it here.
No, but what's the sentiment of people then?
The sentiment of people is they are very upset about the economy, about the ruble collapsing, but they get on with their lives. A lot of people, a lot of young people are trying to leave Russia right now. But overall, people don't talk about Ukraine so much. They don't see it so much on the media, on the news, and they go about their lives.
Yeah. Hang on with us, Alex. Rajesh is also there with us. Rajesh, from whatever Alex has spoken to us, all right, Rajesh will join us in just about a bit. Yes, go on. All right, Rajesh is back. No. Rajesh is back. Rajesh, from whatever Alex has told us, Alex is very confident that there will be a step up of the offensive as far as Russia is concerned on Ukraine. The offensive will be stepped up, and Putin is likely to play hardball on the table in terms of the negotiation. Now, the ball is in Zelensky's court till which point he is agreeable to a compromise. And from the echo chambers, what are you picking up on that front? Because we're seeing a complete devastation of this particular country.
See, I totally agree with your other speaker. Russia will step up the offensive because till the time Ukraine does not come to the negotiating table and make some big concessions, Russia will step up the offensive. But as far as flattening of Kyiv is concerned, as he said, I do not think the air raids or the bombardment or the missile attacks on Kyiv will be substantially increased. They will not be. This is my reading, because I don't think Russia would like to capture a Kyiv which is totally destroyed. Even if they want to have it, even if it is the jewel crown, they would like to have it intact as much as possible. So I do not see any kind of escalation in air raids, maybe a few more here and there, one odd strike every day, but not on the major infrastructure of Kyiv as such. Yes, ground offensive will be stepped up, especially in east and in the south, and we might see in the coming days increased air raids the west of Ukraine in cities like Lviv and closer to the NATO borders. We might see a step up in air offensive there, not so much on Kyiv. This is my reading. With regards to Putin playing hardball, yes, I totally agree with him. Putin will play hardball because right now he's holding all the cards in his hand. They are having a momentum of the war is with Russia right now, with Russian military forces. And Zelensky more and more looks isolated. He has made desperate attempt with NATO. He addressed the British Parliament yesterday. He addressed the US Congress, and he's not getting what he wants. He wants some kind of guarantee that NATO and America will enforce a no-fly zone over Ukraine, and he has been making this demand again and again. And there are billboards in Kyiv which says, NATO, please close Ukrainian airspace.
Yeah.
We are not asking, we are begging. But it is making no difference. He's not making any kind of there's no forward movement in this, and NATO is very, very firm on this, that they will not get involved in this directly. Aircrafts are not coming in.
Yeah.
Poland and America got involved into some kind of bureaucratic thing, and the aircrafts which Ukraine hoped to come for, those MiG-29s from Poland, have not come in. So seeing this situation right now, what Ukraine in, it is certain that Russia will play, or Putin will play hardball in any
Yes.
kind of coming negotiations. Over to you.
All right, Rajesh, Alex, I thank you very much. We'll keep coming back to you for more on this story. Now, dramatic escalation on day 20 of Russia-Ukraine war. With each passing hour, the Russian troops are encircling Kyiv in a bid to capture Ukraine's crown. Putin is now raining missiles on residential buildings now.